Hello friends, welcome to today's video. I've been gone for a while. Every time I start a video lately I say that, but I'm happy to be back filming this video. As you can tell from the title, I'm going to be doing a rather large grocery haul today. Just a little 30-second catch up on my life. I'm hoping I'll be able to do a little bit of a longer what's been going on with me lately video to film like later on this week. But it's super busy at work right now. I'm working in an accounting department and we're currently doing our year-end audit. I just recently purchased this condo that I am living in. So as of, I want to say, 2 weeks ago, basically as of the start of this month, this condo is now mine. So I was doing a bunch of things with like lawyers and financing and all that kind of stuff. And life has just been busy overall. Luckily, the place that I work for is awesome, and they've decided through the summer to give us Fridays off. So on Friday, today, I was able to go and do some groceries and some errands and things like that, and also had the time to sit down and film a video. My life has felt a little hectic lately, and I have not been sort of like tracking stuff with Weight Watchers, and I've also just been not making great meal decisions. So I decided this week what I really wanted to do was plan things and meal prep and just have stuff in place. I am somebody who is super happy to just sort of like eat the same meals every day if it's something that I like. So I decided I am going to meal prep my breakfast, my lunch, my snack, and my dinner for the coming week, and just like have every decision made for me where all I have to do is like heat something up or open a container and it's set to go. So with that being said, if you have been a watcher of my Weight Watchers content for a while, this is going to be somewhat familiar to you because I am going back to some of my favorites just to sort of get back on track again. But hopefully there'll also be some interesting products and ideas in here for you. I'm going to go through this sort of by section of the grocery store, and I'll let you know the meals and snacks that I'm planning on making along the way. Most of this was done at Walmart. A little bit of this was done at Farm Boy, which is a Eastern Ontario grocery chain. Let's start with the produce. I did pick up a bunch of cucumbers and also a big bag of carrots. A big part of my snacks for the week is going to be having just a bunch of fresh cut veggies on hand. So if I'm feeling peckish, if I feel like eating, I have veggies set to go. So that's what all this is for. And just to save a little bit of money, I would sometimes get baby carrots, but I'll just clean and chop these up myself. Also, just as a snack and a bit of an impulse item, I picked up a Ontario peach. They're just starting to come into season now. I don't know that they're quite at their prime yet, but Ontario peaches, when they are in season, are the best thing ever. The issue is that, like, it looked like the ones that were better, the Niagara peaches, were in like baskets, and that's a lot of peaches for me to eat. So I might do that just like maybe next week and get an actual basket of peaches, but this was just an impulse item. I am going to be meal prepping my spicy black bean vegetarian chili. It's a 0-point chili. I do have a video for it here on my channel. I will link that down below. Part of that is that it has bell peppers in it. There was a really good deal on these bell peppers, so I'll probably only use one of these this week, but I think what I might do is chop down and saute the second one of these and just keep it in my freezer, so then the next time I go to make chili, I have the peppers cooked down and ready to go. My chili also uses onions, so I did pick up onions. My chili only uses one, but the other, oh, this is so close to breaking open. The other recipe I'm planning on making this week to have as my dinner, because my spicy black bean chili is going to be my lunch, is a recipe that I'm going to try off of the WW app. It is shredded chicken enchilada casserole. It makes, I think, 12 servings. So basically once I make this, it'll be dinner for like this week and part of next week. But it uses the next veggies that we're gonna go through here, and a big part of that is the onions. The enchilada casserole also calls for cremini mushrooms. The best looking ones were the ones that were pre-sliced already. So it calls, I think, for a pound of cremini mushrooms. So these two together should be that. And then it also calls for 2 zucchinis. So I picked up some zucchini as well. And my final bit of produce is I tend to have like Saturday night date night, and I'll bring like different drinks for myself to have or purchase different drinks for myself to have. And I'm trying to find like some lower calorie alcohol options. I don't have it here in the room. I still have to get it from my car, but I picked up some Corona. So I also picked up a lime because the best thing about having a bottle of Corona is putting the lime into it, so that's what this is for. I picked up some Corona because I think they're supposed to be like 4 or 5 points per bottle, which is pretty good compared to other beer. I also picked up some Molson, is it Ultra? Whichever one where it's like 60 calories. I don't know. I don't trust it 100% to taste good. So I picked up that and the Corona so that I would have options, but that's what the lime is for. Moving on into protein. So this is the one alteration that I'm making to the shredded chicken enchilada casserole recipe, is obviously it calls for shredded chicken. I don't cook a huge amount of chicken and I get a little squeamish sometimes with like full chicken breasts. I don't love prepping it and cutting, I don't know. I'm just a little weird about it. I don't know why. I was vegetarian for many, many years. I now eat meat again, but it's still not my favorite thing to prep with. So what I ended up picking up was some extra lean ground chicken because I'll cook this down and it's basically going into the layers of a casserole. So I feel like this should have the same like protein, all that kind of thing. It just is easier for me to prep, and for me, I like the texture of ground chicken and ground turkey better than like whole chicken and whole turkey. I know that's weird, but that's just how I feel. Into the dairy aisle, I picked up some 1% milk. I have this in my coffee every morning, and I'm also going to be having my breakfast as just cereal. I'll get into more of that in a moment. I'm not usually a breakfast eater, but I'm trying to make my body feel a little bit better, and I think part of that is going to be eating more frequently through the day. I'll get to more of that in a moment. The enchilada casserole called for reduced fat Tex-Mex cheese, or Mexican style cheese. Here in Canada, we don't have as many reduced fat cheese options. I believe we definitely don't have fat-free cheese here in Canada. And I think it's because we can't really have fat-free cheese and still call it like a cheese dairy product. But what I picked up was this shredded cheese Tex-Mex, 25% less fat than regular. Basically, when I make the recipe, the original recipe is supposed to be 5 points per serving plus a point back for the veggies in it, but I'm going to make sure I calculate everything with the ingredients that I'm actually using in case there's variation from the recipe. So I picked this up for the enchilada casserole. I also picked up a container of Laughing Cow light cheese wedges. When I have my spicy black bean chili, I like to have a couple of pieces of toast with it and put some of this on top. You can use this for so much stuff, and it's 1 point per triangle. I also picked up some fat-free plain Greek yogurt. I believe this is no longer a 0 point food for me, but a couple of tablespoons of it is still 0 points in the app. I use this both to mix it into my chili to make it a little bit creamier, and then the enchilada casserole also calls for adding like sour cream on top when you serve it. For me, plain fat-free Greek yogurt is a perfect substitute for sour cream. I also picked up from Farm Boy to have with my chopped veggies as my snack, this yogurt dressing. So this is, I'm trying to know how to pronounce the name of it, Kuhn, I believe. It is yogurt dressing, the savory dill one. There's also a really good garden vegetable one. It's 60 calories per serving, and I'm just gonna scan it because this is really low point and delicious. So it's basically scans as 1 point per tablespoon for 1, 2, or 3 tablespoons, and then when you go up to 4 tablespoons, it scans as 5. But this dressing, it doesn't have, I find sometimes with low-fat dressings, they have almost a, not a gummy texture, but you can almost taste like the thickeners that they use in it as far as the texture to keep it low-fat. But this is lovely and delicious and very fresh and light tasting, but very like savory and creamy at the same time. So if you have a Farm Boy near you or somewhere that sells this, I would recommend trying it. Moving on to the grocery items, I'm only going to hold up 1 can of these, but I did get 4. This is just a can of black beans. I use 4 cans of this in my chili recipe. It makes a lot of chili. Like when I prep this, I will have it for like probably a good 2 weeks. So that's for the chili. And I have 2 cans of this crushed tomato. One is for my chili recipe and one is for the enchilada casserole recipe. The original recipe mentioned getting a 28-ounce can of fire roasted like small diced tomatoes. There wasn't that available at my store, but I got this. Basically in the recipe, you pour this into a blender with a bunch of veggies and blend it to make your own enchilada sauce. So I figured since it was being blended anyway, it didn't really make a difference if it was crushed tomatoes versus like diced tomatoes. I also picked up some chili powder and some cumin. Both my enchilada recipe and my chili recipe call for this. I think I have some left in the fridge, but I always like to keep them on hand because they're spices that I use quite frequently. And you might notice that I feel like there's going to be similar taste profiles between my lunch and my dinner, but that's okay. I like those taste profiles and I think both will be delicious. For both my chili and I think the enchilada as well, the enchilada sauce calls for optional like 1 chipotle pepper chopped up. I didn't want to get a whole can of chipotle pepper just to use one, so I ended up picking up this hot sauce, chipotle and ancho hot sauce from Great Value. Normally I would get sriracha, but it is impossible to find sriracha lately, so I thought I would give this a try. It seems like it would go well in both my chili and the enchilada sauce. And I also picked up just some Great Value olive oil spray. Basically I use this anytime I'm cooking anything just to coat the pan, or if I'm having like air pop popcorn, I'll spray a little bit of this on top to get any seasoning that I put on to stick. So I like to keep a can of this on hand. The enchilada recipe calls for layers of corn tortillas, so I picked up this Mezteca package of corn tortillas. I'm curious, I think these scan as pretty low point, but I'm curious how they scan as compared to the recipe. So I'm just gonna scan these now. So these are not scanning correctly whatsoever, so I'm gonna have to spend some time actually putting these into the app, but I do remember them being fairly low point because they're 120 calories for 2 tortillas with 2 grams of protein, 1 gram of fat. So they're just corn tortillas, you get a lot of them. And I also find these are good if I ever feel like having like chips or anything. I can cut one of these up, spray it with a little bit of olive oil spray, put it in my air fryer, and they basically crisp up really nicely as tortillas. And because, you know, you only make a few at a time, you're not gonna sit there and eat like a whole bag of chips. You can make some and sort of like get over that craving and be good. I picked up some cereal, and this is the Kellogg's Vector High Protein Maple Crunch. I'm usually not a huge fan of like fake maple flavor. I love real maple syrup, but I don't know, something about it being in a breakfast cereal I thought might not be too bad. So I mentioned earlier about sort of trying to eat more through the day. If you watch my channel and my content, you know I'm not much of a breakfast eater, but I find what's been happening in the last little while is I get up in the morning, I sleep in until like kind of a half hour before I start work. I tend to start work in the morning at like 7:30, and then I kind of work through the whole day. I'm rarely hungry at lunch. I have like coffee through the day. And then I finish work around like 4:30 or so, and I'm pretty hungry at that point, so I'll have like something to eat, and then I'll do a few things in the evening, and I end up being super hungry by the end of the day. I've gone the whole day without having that much to eat, and then I've been having like a really big meal at like 8:30 p.m. And it's not been sitting well in my stomach. I go to bed at night feeling really crappy and end up waking up partway through the night because my stomach is like feeling bad. So I'm trying to make myself have more meals through the day. So my plan is that I'll have like a little bit of cereal, like 3/4 of a cup or something like that with some milk, just to sort of like get something into my system. I'll have these snacks, I will have like a lunch, and then the dinner will be a little bit lighter at hopefully more like 7:30 p.m., something like that. So I have a chance to like digest it before I go to bed. It's hard for me having like cereal in the house. I will sometimes, if I'm feeling really snacky, I'll tend to go for things like this and just have like a few huge bowls in a row. So although it might seem silly, I think I'm actually going to portion this out for the week so that I have it like meal prepped in some little containers so that it's just ready to go for my breakfast. And for this cereal, 2/3 of a cup scans as 3 points, 3/4 of a cup scans as 4 points. So I'll probably do something in around there, either 3 or 4 points worth of the cereal with a little bit of milk, just to have something in the morning. For the toast that I like to have with my chili, I picked up some of this Ezekiel bread. I really like this. It's got like a really dense kind of chew to it, and toasting it up is really nice. This is 1 point for 1 slice or 3 points for 2 slices. So having this, 2 slices of this with 2 triangles of the Laughing Cow cheese is like 5 points. And then the chili is 0 points, so it ends up being like a 5-point lunch. Also to have with my veggies, to make my snack a little bit more substantial, I wanted to pick up some hummus. And I found this buffalo style hummus. I haven't tried scanning it yet. Sometimes these Farm Boy things, like nobody's entered them yet, so I guess we will see. But this was lower point, or lower calorie, I should say, than like just roasted garlic hummus, though I thought it can't be too bad points-wise. And this is saying that 2 tablespoons of it is 1 point. And I like to just sort of like scan down and see if people entered this properly. Okay, so 2 tablespoons of this is 1 point. So I'm looking forward to trying this and seeing if I like the flavor. And finally, the last thing I picked up to have on hand as a healthier snack option was some popcorn kernels. I have a air popper that goes in my microwave. And then this with a little bit of a spritz of olive oil on it. And then the thing that really makes it is this all dressed kernels popcorn seasoning. I know all dressed flavor is a Canadian thing, but it's kind of like barbecue, but with like more of like a vinegary kick to it. It's really good. So these together just make a wonderful snack, and I usually just weigh out the popcorn kernels to make it like 3 or 4 points worth of popcorn kernels before I pop it, and then it ends up being like a pretty nice savory kind of snack with really good flavor. So there we go. That is my entire grocery haul. It was pretty expensive, I gotta say, but a lot of this stuff is going to meal prep and be around for more than just 1 week. So I'm thinking this was a larger grocery haul, and then next week will probably be a smaller one just to fill in some items, maybe meal prep like some different dinner things so I can switch it up with the enchilada casserole. My plan is, and I mean like it's one of these things I shouldn't say my plan because who knows where it will go, is that I would like to film a little bit of the meal prepping of the enchilada casserole and also do a review of it so that those of you who are also on the WW plan can see if it's a recipe that will work well for you, if it's something you might want to try out. Possibly also a full day of eating video, we'll see. As I get into the week, my days get a little bit busier. But thank you so much for joining me for this grocery haul today. If you enjoyed it, what I will do is pop up here a couple of other WW or whatever kind of videos so that you can watch those. And I'll also pop my face up here somewhere so you can click on it and be subscribed if you're not already. Once again, thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye!